Okay, so there's one more game that I wanted to take the time to go ahead and talk about, and this game surprised me a little bit. It's Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan. I have a special place in my heart for some good old fashioned MACtion, and this is one of those games where I actually did believe that the wrong team was favored, at least according to the model. So a little bit of background on this game. Western Michigan was a favorite. They were a slight favorite, but they were a favorite. Western Michigan was a 3-point favorite. They were going on the road though to play in Ypsilanti, Michigan, where Eastern Michigan was playing. So rivalry game. Michigan was at home, and seemed like Eastern Michigan had slightly more momentum in their season than what Western Michigan had. Um, Eastern Michigan winning 2 of their last 3 games going into this, while Western Michigan was on a 3-game losing streak going into this one. And sometimes, you just have bad luck, but I was wrong. I was wrong. Western Michigan proved me wrong in what is a critical rivalry game between these two teams, because both of them are still in a position to try to get into a bowl game. And it was more important for Western Michigan to win this game, because if Western Michigan lost, if they lost this game, then they were not going to be bowl eligible. They would be no road for Western Michigan to go to a bowl game. Eastern Michigan, on the other hand, had a chance to cement their position to go to get closer to qualifying for a bowl game, getting their 5th win, but it didn't happen. And not only did Western Michigan end up winning this game per se, they were able to actually win pretty convincingly in this particular game. Western Michigan wins 45-21. And so Western Michigan, at least for now, for another week, they do remain alive in the hunt to try to go to a bowl game. Don't know what bowl game, but to a bowl game. So how does this thing go? And I'll try not to be as long about this game, but I just love being long-winded. We're passionate about all college football. Like, we don't discriminate here. We really don't. So how this game ended up going down. So biggest tone center in this game by far has to be Jalen Buckley. Jalen Buckley, a solid running back there in the MAC. He has a real chance of toppling 1,000 yards, and he's really having a breakout season. And he's a young kid too. This is a guy that redshirted last year, saw very limited action because of the red shirt, but first year on the field, dude is approaching 1,000 yards rushing. Jalen Buckley having 775 yards on the ground. He's averaging more than 5 yards a carry. And then when he gets a chance in the receiving game as well, he's averaging 10 yards of reception. So this is a young kid that is making plays in the MAC, and maybe an early candidate possibly to maybe transfer up to a Power 5 program at some point in his college career. I certainly wouldn't be surprised by that. But he set the tone in this particular game. 138 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. He was a huge runner, huge cog in what Western Michigan was trying to do. But we talked about this earlier. We always think it's important to have balance, and they certainly had balance, getting contributions from their offense and also their defense as well. Their defense, not only it didn't have one, you would think, you see this 45-21 score, and you think to yourself, okay, it's a pretty normal score. What if I told you that this Western Michigan team didn't get one safety? Oh no, they got 2 safeties in the game. They had 2 safeties, not only in the game, which is rare to see a safety, period, but they got 2 safeties. They were in the same quarter as well. They still got outscored in the 3rd quarter, 6-4. Really, Sicko's committee material. But they got 2 safeties in the same quarter. And then on top of that, they were able to get a fumble return for a touchdown. They had Eastern Michigan deep in their own territory inside the 5. Corey Walker made a big play, got the fumble recovery, and then brought it back to the crib. Just a few more yards. Eastern Michigan ended up turning the ball over 4 times today. So when I say it was a complete effort by the defense, it was a complete effort by the defense. When you're forcing more turnovers than the other team is able to get touchdowns, that is a absolutely phenomenal performance by the defense. Great job by Western Michigan in that regard. And of course, to top it off for Western Michigan, we saw, 20-yard passing touchdown as well between Hayden Wolf and Blake Bosma in order to help Western Michigan get off to a hot start to begin with. Broncos got off to a 21-0 start before Eastern Michigan was even able to get on the board. Now, Eagles did eventually get on the board through a Samson Evans 15-yard touchdown run. It happened late in that second quarter, so it took a while for Eastern Michigan to get going. If you could even say that they got going as well. But this was also a team that had its fair share of miscues. I mean, not only did we talk about the 4 interceptions, not only did they have 2 safeties. You want to know how one of those safeties happened was Eastern Michigan was trying to attempt a pass out of their own end zone. There was a holding penalty. And what happens, and I don't know how many of you that are watching this right now actually know this, when you have a holding penalty or any kind of offensive penalty that occurs in your own end zone, that's when it's called a safety automatically. That's what happened there. So that's what happened with one of the safeties there. Yeah, Western Michigan, this was a game that they really needed to win, and they got it done. It's, not going to really move the needle much in terms of competing within the MAC conference or even in their own division in particular. Both these teams are effectively out of the hunt in order to win the West. Toledo does seem like they have it on lock, but Western Michigan, they're on a warpath right now. They are trying their best to get to bowl eligibility. And even with this win, Western Michigan, they still need to win their next 3 games in order to possibly be invited. 6 wins is not a guarantee. You got to keep that in mind. So what is Western Michigan's next 3 games? They are at home against Central Michigan, on the road against Northern Illinois, and then they are at home taking on Bowling Green. Now, I personally don't know if this Western Michigan squad, if they're going to be favored in any of those 3 games. But what I do know is that these are certainly winnable games. I wouldn't pick them to win in any of those games, but they're certainly winnable games for this Western Michigan football program. And if they find a way to run the table here in the month of November, they're going to be invited to go to a bowl game one way or another and, carry some momentum as well as we get into bowl season. As for Eastern Michigan, real chance for them to go and, secure, at least be on the verge of securing bowl eligibility. Now, this Eastern Michigan squad, they're officially on a losing streak. It's the second time this year that Eastern Michigan is on such a losing streak. They are on a 2-game losing streak, and they gotta do everything that they can to avoid having to expand any further because they got to go on the road. They're going to take on a team that's arguably the best team in the MAC, the Toledo Rockets. Toledo's only loss was to Illinois and was a close game, and a game that Toledo also covered, by the way. But their schedule will get easier after that. They do have Akron at home, and then they'll also have Buffalo on the road. So, again, besides the Toledo game, I don't really see how Eastern Michigan beats Toledo personally, but I could see them beating Akron. I could see them beating Buffalo, and I could see Eastern Michigan also getting to that 6-win mark that's required to go to a bowl game. So that's why I wanted to like talk about this game because it's what surprised me the most. I thought Eastern Michigan was going to win this game, and I actually thought Eastern Michigan was actually going to win by double digits. And yeah, I mean there was a double digit victory, just not by the team that we thought it was gonna be from, if that makes sense. So great win by Western Michigan. Way to prove me wrong and make me admit on YouTube that I was wrong. Good job. Now go win out and see if you can get some bowling happening to end your 2023 college football season.